Yes.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Another Western States done.
And now every person just turns to the good old phrase of next year. Next year.
Already looking forward to next year.
Yeah.
And we got Hard Rock to look forward to in a couple weeks, which I feel sorry for anybody that's doing that double Western States Hard Rock. That's
Right. God.
like a 9-day turnaround. It'd be interesting. Jam ended up squeaking through on Western States in a little over 29 hours, joining us common folk.
Yeah, I love it.
I do too. I'm so glad he stuck it out and finished. It'd be interesting to see how he handles Hard Rock.
Yeah, I can't even I don't know, man. Like, it doesn't even make sense. You know what I mean? Like, well, I assume we'll talk about it more. I saw I was looking at the notes. We'll talk about it a little bit more here in a little bit, but like, it is insane. Like, it is insane. I'll get into it more here in a little bit, but I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So we have some race results to get into, of course, Western States, and there was a few others, and we got some big FKT news, some not so good, but there was some pretty significant FKTs set, including one in the Upper Midwest, a pretty famous route. Not too much news this week. We just have some fun little Western States stories to share. And our 3Ts today, actually, I just came up with this right before the show. Johnny doesn't even know what it is. I did forget to mention it to you, but we're going to talk about recovery. Since Western States is done, I figured good time to talk about recovery. And we're also going to take a look at our picks and see how we did. All right, let's jump right into the big one, Western States. So Western States, like, it was an interesting year, right? It was a little bit hotter, above average. A lot of the elite, runners had dropped, but there was still, didn't start, but there was still a boatload of talent. And, kind of how it played out was, it just seemed like an average year. There wasn't too much, like, I don't know, just crazy, like last year we had Rod Farvard and Jim just dueling, and it just kind of seemed like everything just kind of played out this year.
Yeah.
In a normal fashion. I'd say the first and second place was kind of a surprise. I mean, Caleb Olson just put on a clinic. I mean, he broke free from Chris Myers, I think, around the halfway point, and he just ran a great second half, and he ended up finishing with the second fastest Western States time ever in 14:11. Chris Myers was second in 14:17, which that was the fourth fastest Western States time ever. And the first and third fastest times were both set by Walmsley. So,
damn, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got Walmsley. What? It's Walmsley, Olson, Walmsley, Myers.
Mm-hmm.
And
Chris Myers, he's one that just kind of flew under the radar. He's a younger guy. He got second at Black Canyon a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Second or third. I thought it was second. And, then he ended up starting to win some races, and, he won Chuckanut 50K this year. It was just a matter of time before he burst onto the scene in a big way. And, I think getting second place in this race on a hot year, He really made his showing, made his known. And, like I said, he is pretty young, and he will have a lot of good years of racing ahead of him. He said I watched his interview with Iron Farr, his post Western States interview, and he kind of hinted that he would not be coming back next year to Western States. So
really,
yeah, he feels like he ran his perfect Western States. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe after he gets recovered, maybe about it, he'll change his mind.
He might be onto something though, right? Like why go back and try to do it again? You know what I mean? Like if he's like, nope, that was it, right? Like why do it again? There's so many other races.
Well, and that's kind of what he said too. There's so many other things out there.
Yeah.
And then you got the GOAT, Kilian Jornet, who comes back to Western States 14 years after winning Western States in 2011. And not only, he finished third, and he ran like a perfect race. He executed well. You could tell he's a veteran. Like he knew exactly what he was doing the whole time. He ran his own race. I mean, it was textbook how he did it. Very methodical. He pushed hard at the end, and he was only 2 minutes behind Myers at the end. I mean, he made a good push for second place. And he was 75 minutes faster than his winning time in 2011.
14 years ago, yeah.
He finished in 14:19 and this was considered a hot year, not the hottest year, but it was a little hotter than average. And you could tell that the runners were definitely feeling the heat.
Yeah, they went through some ice this year. They were. I was listening to the live stream at one point, and they were talking about how this just really isn't Jornet's style of race, right? Like it's not what he's really known for. Like you said, it's a little hot for him, probably. And so between it being not really his style of race and it being kind of hot for him, the other thing they talked about a little bit was going into when was it? Going about at some point, it was him. It was Jornet, Myers, and Olsen were in a pretty good pack.
Mm-hmm.
And the two youngsters took off and absolutely bombed from an aid station down a hill. And like I am drawing a blank on what it was. Was it Forest Hill? And they bombed down a hill. And the announcer, he was talking about how Jornet probably gave them a little bit too much space there, and but like you said, you could watch him like after Rucky, you could watch him slowly kind of pull them back in, but he gave up so much ground.
Yeah,
he ran out of real estate. He ran out of real estate to pull them back in.
Yeah, I think if he had 5 more miles, he could have he definitely would have finished second.
five more miles. I think he maybe catches Myers. Yeah. I would guess he would have needed another 10 to 15 to catch Olsen.
Yeah.
Like
maybe
Olsen
some good uphill or something.
Yeah, well, and the other crazy thing is like watching. I don't know if you had a chance to watch, because like if you're like me, you're in and out of the live stream, right? I watched one section of the live stream where, as a matter of fact, I think it's it must have been. I think it's the finishing interview, or maybe I saw it on a reel afterwards or something. But Olsen was kind of sort of alluded to, like, at one point I knew I didn't have the record. I just knew I didn't, right? I'm a realist. And he said at that point, he's like,
he was only 2 minutes off the record.
I mean, At one point, he's like, I just knew I didn't have it. And so he admitted, he's like, I just kind of put it in enjoyment mode. I enjoyed being there. I enjoyed the experience. And now when he made that decision, that I don't know. You know what I mean? But you could kind of, I don't know.
1409 is the record.
And he had 14:11:25. Yeah, 14:11:25.
Man, so close on a hot year. And that record, I believe, was set on a cool year.
Yeah. I mean,
it was 2019 when that record was set?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. But I mean, like 2 minutes at that speed, though. I mean,
I was at that finish when he set the record.
When he set it?
Yeah, Jess and I went up just to watch the race, and we were at the track when he finished. Yeah, I think it was 2019, but yeah, and Jeff Magavero, he had a hell of a Western States debut in 4th place for the men, and 4th place overall in 14:30, and Dan Jones from New Zealand.
Dan Jones,
who was he's just Mr. Consistent, man. Like he his 3rd straight top 5 finish in 14:36. He finished 5th. And then Seth Ruling also finished under 15 hours in 14:59. And Ryan Montgomery went 15:54. So there's quite a gap between 6th and 7th. The young gun out of Georgia, Hans Schroyer, busted into the top 10 in his first 100-miler ever, 16:06, which was awesome to see. You could tell he was having fun. He did. They said on the live stream that he told his crew that he underestimated the course. He underestimated the climbing. You know. That's the thing. Everybody thinks Western States is a downhill race, which it is. Yeah. It has 23,000 feet of downhill. There's still over 18,000 feet of climbing. I mean, it's not exactly a cupcake race as far as climbing.
Listen, like you shoot out the gate and climb straight up a ski resort.
Yeah.
I mean, like you could almost just that alone, like you shoot out the gate and you climb. And then it's like, you have descent down into these canyons. Dude, you've got to get out of the canyons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you went down into the canyon. You've got to get back up out of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it is, I would guess, like, the little bit that I've ran of it with Dave Wells, the little bit I ran, like, I remember a couple little hills where I was like, shit, if I was 80, 90 miles into a run, this would really suck ass. You know what I mean? I remember thinking like, this is kind of bullshit.
Yeah. So, and you're right out of the gate, they have the climb. And then in the backcountry, during that first 30 miles, there's over 7,000 feet of climbing in that first 30 miles. That's a tough ass 50K like to start.
Yeah, it is very much, as far as the climbing goes, I would guess the overwhelming majority of it, like 75% of it's probably the first 50 miles. And then there's a couple little sneaky climbs on the back.
Yeah. You're right about that. You know, the climb up to Michigan Bluff.
Yeah.
That's like your last climb out of the canyons.
Yeah.
But as mentioned, little hotter than average. This is a 52nd year for Western States. Snow, I didn't hear that snow was really a factor. I heard there was a bunch of boggy stuff in the high country. And I guess that's pretty normal, though, up there. And this is in the stretch right after the escarpment, after you crest the escarpment, like the next 6 or 7 miles. And they're actually working on restoring a trail so that boggy stuff is not going to be there once that gets finished, once that trail restoration gets finished. I'm not sure when that's supposed to be, but yeah, one other thing I wanted to say about Killian, like, he's just a good dude, man. Like, he's just happy. He's just happy to be there and just loves the community and, just proclaiming how grateful he is to the community for accepting him here in the United States and the volunteers, and just, he's just like, I don't know, he's everything that's right with our sport.
For sure. Yeah.
So that was cool to see. Also, let's go over the women's race, which was really awesome for Abby Hall. Abby Hall, 2 years ago, she had a devastating knee injury and she broke her leg. She couldn't even walk 2 years ago. So to come back from that injury, and then she just past the halfway point, she gained the lead for the remainder of the race. She held off Ida Nilsson, who also ran a great race, and also stayed just in front of Fuzhou Zhang, who really did a late race charge.
Fuzhou, like I was like, I think I logged on and watched the live stream, and like she was like, I mean, dude, I think she was like north of 5th, but below, like she's somewhere between 5th and 10th. And like it was late in the race. I think they're at the river. I think they're at the river, and she's still like between 5th and 10th.
Yeah.
And then between the river and the finish line, between Rucky Chucky and the finish line, she managed to catch, like probably three or more women. Like she just ran women down. And when she came across the finish line, she looked like she could still keep going.
Yeah,
like she looked good.
I think she ran a super smart race. I mean, because it was so hot, it was just killing people. Like, the DNFs like left and right. So yeah, she ran a really smart race. Ended up, so Abby Hall's time was 16:37, and Fuzhou was 16:47. So she was just 10 minutes behind Abby Hall. Again, if she had some extra miles, like it would have been interesting. But all the credit to Abby.
Yeah, Marianne Hogan came in at 16:50. So Marianne Hogan was only 3 minutes behind Fuzhou.
Yeah, she passed Ida Nielsen. Yep, got third.
Yeah, and so I don't know when. I'm not 100% sure. I wonder when. I wonder who passed who first, right? Did Fuzhou pass like Marianne and then Ida, and then Marianne managed to catch Ida? Like, did Ida fall off that bad? I wonder what order it went down.
I think Fuzhou passed Ida, and then Marianne passed Ida.
Yeah, that's a rough thing. And I mean, Ida still only finished 10 minutes behind Fuzhou, so it's not like it was like a crazy fall off. Or I'm sorry, 10 minutes behind Marianne.
She was right there in fourth place in 17 hours. And Fiona Pascal, 17:21 for fifth. Hao Ha, first Vietnamese Western States finisher. Hao Ha.
That's kind of cool. That's kind of surprising, actually.
Yep, 17:23 for sixth place, so top 10. She'll be coming back next year if she wants to. Hannah Allgood, 17:39. Caitlin Fielder from New Zealand, 17:47. Keely Henninger, 17:57. And the local Emily Hawgood in 18:11 to round out the top 10 for the women. One interesting thing that I just actually learned I was listening to Jeff Garmire's podcast, Free Outside. They did the Westies Awards, which is like a play on The Office when they did the
Dundies.
The Dundies. Yeah. So they had some funny stuff, but the Abby Hall got their Drop It Like It's Hot award. Her husband was pacing her, and she dropped her husband.
No shit.
Yeah, she dropped her pacer, who happened to be her husband.
Wait, who did that?
Abby Hall.
Abby Hall did?
The winner, yeah.
Who, did you see the video? And I can't remember who it was. Was it Hannah? It might have been Hannah Allgood. Did you see the woman who threw up? She's like,
No, that was.
like, sorry.
I think that might have been Marianne Hogan.
Oh wait, yes. Yes, I think you're right. I think it was Marianne Hogan. Yeah.
She was
Dude,
like in Forest Hill
like,
or something.
dude,
It's
and
like in
that
front
was
of a bunch of people and just.
bro, like, that was an impressive amount of vomit, dude.
Yeah.
And then like I just love the sorry. Like it was just so perfect. Like the amount of vomit that came out of her.
Oh, it was incredible. It was
But
incredible.
here's what's crazy is that sucks though. That's a lot of calories and a lot of fluids just gone. You know what I mean? You're like,
that's true. That's true. And your stomach's going to be unsettled.
Oh, and then
sometimes it can make you feel better, but
but then you taste it too, and you're like, God damn,
dude,
man.
that acid in your
that
throat
feeling, and
it just doesn't go away, man.
Oh, it's the worst.
So let's do some notable drops for the men. David Roche, he was running strong, but it went down exactly how Cole said it would.
Yeah.
He was going for broke, and he broke himself. He just broke himself. Rod Farvard, you and I were talking before the show started. Rod dropped at Quarry Road, mile 90.7, 16 hours and 16 hours and 30 or 40 minutes or something. Quarry Road is mile 90.7. So I don't know what happened there, but he called it. And then Vincent Bulliard, I believe, dropped at Michigan Bluff. It's on that other spreadsheet with our picks that we go over. And notable drops for the women were Riley Brady dropped. Riley was my pick for first. Esther Shelag dropped. I believe you and Cole both had Esther.
Yeah, a couple I had her pretty high, yeah.
Tara Dower, who was sick, and we didn't find out until right after the recording.
She must have been miserable. I've seen a couple of reels, or like a couple of like videos and reels or whatever of her post, like even during the race, because her, like she'll do little videos during the race, and I mean, even during the race, you could the lights were on and no one was home, man. And she's trying to be all chipper. Like you could tell she was just doing her absolute best to still be chipper and still be like, yeah, we're gonna get through this. And it was like, no, we're not.
Yeah, she's such a trooper. She gave it her best shot, man. Heather Jackson dropped. And some of these drops were from tripping and falling and really messing themselves up. And you know what? I think there's something to this, right? Like I just thought about this on my run earlier. I'm like, why were all these people falling and messing themselves up? I think when it's hot out like that, you get lazy and you don't pick your feet up.
Yeah. You just kind of want, like you really do. You just kind of like lean a little bit more. And you just let gravity do more of the work, and so you don't have. It's kind of fun because like Cole actually talked about a little bit about rolling, about his leg lift and his drive and all that kind of stuff. When it's hot, you're just like fuck. You just lean forward. You just let gravity do it. Yeah. And sure as shit, man, you're gonna catch a rock or like something. You're not catching a root out. You're not necessarily catching a root out in Western States, but you could possibly catch a rock or something like that. But
no doubt.
Dude, Michigan Bluff and Forest Hill, man, they took a toll this year. They claimed between the two of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They claimed 7 runners this year.
Of our picks.
Of our picks, yeah. Just off our picks alone.
Yeah. So let's go over our picks. We'll start with Cole, and Cole had picked top 11 places for the guys and top 12 places for the women.
Mr. Fancy Pants.
He had Seth Ruling in first, and Seth went on to finish 6th in 14:59. He had Killian in second, and Killian ended up 3rd. So that was close. Vincent Bulliard DNF'd at Green Gate. That was his third place pick.
Yeah.
His wild card, which is fourth, was Adam Peterman, who ended up 49th.
Who did the right thing? Who absolutely did the boss move and was like, I feel like shit. Today ain't my day.
Not my day.
But like, I'm also an elite runner, and I got all the time in the world. Like, I'm an elite runner. I can crawl and finish this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And just shut it down. Like, dude, I think at one point I heard he walked like legit the last 100K. I mean, with some shuffling here and there, but he basically walked the last 100K.
You want to know what does set him apart, though? Even though he did that, he still did a sub 24.
Dude, that's fucking ridiculous, right?
Right, 2309. So he still got that silver buckle.
That's the kind of thing. Like, I get it. These guys are sponsored, right? And like, I get all that, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I think, I don't know. What do I know, right? Like, if I was a sponsor, though, but if I was in charge of sponsorships for Ultra or Hoka or whoever the fuck else, I would pay more money to a dude like Peterman, who was like, yeah, man, it wasn't my day, but I shut it down. Like, I still got that shit done. I'd pay more money to him than I would. I like Farvard, so I feel bad for saying this. I pay more than I would to Farvard, who was like, dude, you got all the way to fucking Quarry Road.
Yeah.
We
don't know what happened to Rod.
No,
but,
yeah. Now,
but if he was able to continue moving, even if it was just a slow walk. Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Come on, like, I don't know.
You know, David Roche said that it was like his DNF was it was a mental DNF.
Yep. Yeah. You know? I saw
he could have continued.
Oh yeah, I saw a post. He put a post the next day, and like I'm gonna put words in his mouth a little bit, but I think he's embarrassed. I think he's legit embarrassed that he DNF'd that race, and I think he fully regrets it. Yeah. Like he went through the same emotion I think the commoner does when they're like, why the fuck did I just DNF? Yeah, why did I do that?
Right after you're on your way back to the hotel and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, like why the fuck? What did I just do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, and then you wake up the next day and it's even worse. You're like, I'm moving just fine. I'm moving just fine. Why did I do that?
He really put himself out there on social media, and just like Cole said, he put way too much pressure on himself.
Yep.
And way too much expectation on himself. But so anyway, so Peterman, 49th, props to him for continuing on. I have much more respect for that than dropping out just because it's not your day.
Yeah.
Because most of us that, we can never get in the Western States, or if we did, we would do everything we could in our power to finish that race. Like, it's an honor to run that race. It's, Caleb Olson was Cole's 5th place wildcard 2, and Caleb ended up winning 14-11. Dan Jones was 6th place and finished 5th. Hans finished 8th, and that was his 7th place pick, so he was close on that one. Hans Nomberger ended up 11th, and that was Cole's 8th place pick. David Roche DNF'd 9th. Jeff Magavero finished 4th, and that was his 10th place pick. And Dan Green, the youngster out of West Virginia, was his 11th place pick, and Dan finished 12th. So great showing by Dan Green, 17-14. Yeah.
Dude, coming off from a 250, golly days. A Cocodona that you set the record. Wait, he didn't set the record. Coco, did he? Wait.
No, he did.
Yeah. Set a new course record. So
by a lot.
So Cole was only off by 1 on 3 different people. No, 4 different people. He's off by 1 on Killian.
Yeah.
He is off by 1 on Dan Jones. Off by 1 on Hans Troyer. Yeah. And off by 1 on Dan Green.
Yep.
So I mean,
and he, Seth Ruling, he was only off by 5.
Yeah.
and Caleb, he was only off by 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did really good.
Yeah.
For the men, and I will say one thing, it's going to be very interesting to see Dan Green and Hans Troyer just a few years from now. Those two are going to, if they don't burn themselves out, they're going to be like forces to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Okay, for the women, he had Esther in first. She had DNF'd at Michigan Bluff. He had Riley second. They DNF'd at Forest Hill. Emily Hallgood, he had third. She was 10th. Marianne Hogan was fourth, his fourth place pick, and she ended up third, so just one off there. Fu Zhao ended up second, and that was his fifth place pick, so just 3 off. Tara Dower was his sixth place pick, DNF at Ford's Bar. Yeah, Tara still made it to Cal 3, dude. Like, mile 70 or 72 or something? Then Fiona Pascal, he had for his seventh place pick, and she was fifth. He nailed the eighth place female pick, Caitlin Fielder. Yeah. Hannah Allgood, he had ninth, and she finished seventh. Heather Jackson DNF'd. Shea Aquilano, he had 11th, and she was 16th. And Keely Henninger, he had 12th, and she was 9th. So he was really close on a lot of women.
Yeah, he did really well. Yeah.
Johnny, you had Killian in first. He ended up third. So he had the podium right. And Vincent DNF'd. You had him second.
Yeah.
Adam Peterman, you had third. He was 49th. Rod Farvard DNF'd at Corey Road. That was your wild card 1. And Dan Green ended up 12th. That was your wild card 2.
Yeah.
For the women, you had Emily Hallgood in first, and she was 10th. Esther DNF'd. Riley DNF'd. Tara DNF. That was your second, third, fourth.
My women took a beating. My women took a beating.
But you did have Fu Zhao in fifth, and she came in second.
So much of it's funny is I even thought I even thought about putting Fu higher because of last year. Oh well, shoulda, coulda.
Yeah, man. She executed very well.
Yeah.
So I had Killian in first, and he was third. I had Peterman in second, 49th. I had Hans Troyer in third, and he ended up 8th. Rod Farvard, fourth, DNF. And I had Dan Jones. I nailed my fifth place pick, Dan Jones. And then for the women, I had Riley Brady in first. They DNF'd at Forest Hill. I had Tara in second. She DNF'd at Forest Bar. Fu Zhao, I had third, and she was second. I had Emily in fourth. She was 10th, and Fiona Pascal in fifth, which I hit. I hit both of my fifth place picks.
Yeah, you did. I think Cole won the men's. I think you might have won the women's.
Well, I had 2 DNFs in the women.
Well, everyone had 2 DNFs, so Cole had 2 DNFs.
Oh, that's true.
Cole had 2 DNFs, but you were only 1 off on Fu.
Yeah.
And then you hit Fiona perfectly.
Yeah.
So, you did pretty good there.
Yeah, not too bad. But yeah, it was fun anyway. All right. Well, we got a lot of other stuff to get to, so we should probably move along. I just want to mention really quick. I didn't have too much to say about it, but Lavaredo 120K in Italy was over the weekend as well. And a U.S. runner, Ben Demon, got first place overall. And he set the course record over there. And this is a pretty high-profile race, Lavaredo. He got the course record, and he finished in 11:49. That's 120K. And Courtney DeWalter dominated the women's race. She just casually went over there and won the race in 14:14 on Western States weekend. So yeah, that was Lavaredo. Also, the 6 days in the Dome, and our guy, friend of the pod, Robert, was in 6 days in the Dome, and he podiumed.
Speaking of dominating.
That's right. First place was Julia Rekatina. She was first overall with 445 miles. Second place was Tetsunori Suzuki, and he had 422.96 miles. And then Robert was third with 412.77 miles. It was like pretty interesting. I saw his Garmin Connect post from this, and it was like spot on, like 412 miles. Like how does this watch? And it showed all the, like
all the little loopy loops.
Yeah, let's see, how many loops did he do? Almost 1,500 loops, dude.
God, 1,500 loops over 6 days, right?
Yeah. So, that was the 6th day, and that was the main event. So that's really all we're going to talk about. There was a lot of other events.
So he did 250 loops a day. And this is 250 loops a day. That's a 200-meter track, right?
I believe it's just a little over a quarter mile.
Yeah.
So, well, we can calculate this, right? 412.774 divided by 6. So he averaged 68.8 miles a day.
100K a day?
Yeah.
It's not too shabby.
A little over 100K.
I mean, that's actually, if you think like that's like, especially if you're in a dome, right?
You're in a dome. You gotta sleep too. I mean, six whole days, dude.
6 whole days. Like,
that's a lot of days, man.
You just wake up at 7 a.m., bust out 100K for however long it takes you to bust out 100K.
Yeah.
Lay your ass right back down that cot and go to sleep until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Wake up, bust out another 100K. Golly, days.
Yeah. So we're gonna have Robert on the show next week to talk about the 6 days in the dome. I'm really, really interested. I can't wait to hear all about that and kind of like the details of like where he slept and when he slept and just kind of how it all happens. Is there a big scoreboard, and like I did see they were changing directions on loops. Maybe they do that every hour, every couple of hours. I don't know. A lot of questions. I'm gonna make a note of that one. A lot of questions to ask. So it'd be fun to talk to Robert next week.
Yeah.
Also the Black Hills 108 miler was this weekend, and Johnny and I were talking about this before the show. Absolute carnage. Carnage.
Like they got their asses handed to them this year. Good old Petey Griggs ran it a couple years ago, and shot me a post from Cowboy Up or Sit in the Truck, which feels very fitting for this race. But Chris Riley, who I don't know if that's the RD or not, but the 100-miler had 96 people toe the line. Fucking 36 finished. 36. And so I asked Pete, like, dude, like, what the hell? Like, there's no way it's at the normal finish rate for that race. And he said, no, it's usually closer to 50%, which is still pretty, like, that's still pretty bad, right? I guess a pretty rough finish rate for a 100-miler.
Did he mention, was it, I mean, I'm guessing it was hot and muggy, but
he said it rained like a motherfucker.
Oh, okay.
And like, here's the thing, is it's an out and back. So it's an out and back. So like, if it rains the entire time,
everybody's tranching through. There's other distances too.
Yeah. And it's like everyone's going through it, and then you got to turn your ass right back around and come back over it again.
Yeah.
And so it just.
If you look at the top times for this race, like the first place overall, Walker Yane for the men, 22:01. That's the 25th fastest time at Black Hills. So it was slow.
The race has only been going on for a handful of years too. That's the crazy thing. Like, that race is not super old.
It's well, let's see. There was times from 2013.
So 11-ish years.
Yeah, 11, 12 years. Yeah, I don't know if they had it during COVID year, but yeah, Walker Yang 22:01 for first, Caleb Yoakum 22:09 for second, Thomas Kajir-Gatrone 25:23 for third. And then for the women, first place was Mia Rukoba in 30 hours and 23 minutes. The first place woman was over 30 hours.
Oh.
Second place for the women was Kelsey Sebald in 33:10, and Katie Kavanaugh for third in 33:33. There was one other woman that finished, Sally Kranz, in 36:12, which is over the 36-hour cutoff. So, yeah. So that was Black Hills in Sturgis, South Dakota. And yeah. I guess the last 8 miles is like pretty brutal from my understanding too.
Yeah.
I think it's just flat or just like goes forever. And
I think it's also a really bad mind fuck, right? Because like
you're at 100,
yeah, and like I don't like somehow, some way after all these years, I think like people legit get that race and don't realize that it's not 100, it's like 108. And all of a sudden that watch chirps at you at 100. You're like, what the fuck? I can't even see the finish line. You know what I mean? I guess it's got to be demoralizing if you don't know.
Yeah. Next race is the Wy'East Wonder 50 mile and 50K in Parkdale, Oregon. This is put on by Go Beyond Racing. I know I've said it a million times, but Go Beyond is a great race company. They put on awesome races. They're a small race company, but they do a hell of a job. And so this race takes place around Mount Hood. Like, I guess there's great views of Mount Hood the whole time. It's a flowy single track. And so Wy'East is the Multnomah tribe word for Mount Hood. So that's why it's the Wy'East Wonder. And yeah, so the 50-mile route has 7,000 feet of climbing and 10,000 feet of loss. The 50K has 4,000 feet of climbing and 7,000 feet of loss. So downhill races, moderate climbing, great views of Mount Hood, Oregon trails in the summer. I'm guessing this is a pretty cool race.
Yeah.
And then in the 50K, Nick Hurt was first in 3 hours and 55, and Sarah Ryder was first for the women in 4:20. In the 50-mile, course records were shattered. Sarah Alabin was first overall. She was first overall and set the overall course record in 7 hours and 36 minutes for the 50-mile. So congrats to Sarah. And I'm sorry, Sarah Ryder in the 50K also set the women's course record. And the first place for the men, which was Steven Snauzik, 7 hours and 56, he set the men's course record. So, that might not be true, actually. Yeah, I don't think that's true. No. Anyway, I may have had some bad intel. So anyways, but yeah, from my understanding, Sarah Alabin did set the 50-mile course record. Also there was a finisher in this race.
Yeah.
I don't have it up. Anyway, this guy, Zach Becker, attempted a world record, and he did the 50K, and he tried to run the fastest 50K while juggling. So he did juggle continuously while running 31 miles, And these are 31 trail miles, right? Technical forested trails with a righteous final descent. 5 hours and 53 minutes got him 26th place overall in his first ultra, but he did not get the 50K juggling record.
It's pretty. I mean, like aside from not getting the record, everything else is pretty impressive. First ultra.
Yeah, under 6 hours.
And you still bump out at 26th place under 6 hours. Like that's pretty outstanding.
While juggling the whole way.
Yeah.
That race that we've talked about before, many on the Genny in Letchworth State Park in New York, up in the Finger Lakes region, that was over the weekend. It's a 45 miler in what they call the Grand Canyon of the East. And Josh Zubler was 640 for the win. And for the women, Jennifer Spitzer, 905 for the females. Buckeye Trail 50K in Ohio was over the weekend. And this is a long running race. It's been going on since 1994.
Huh.
And there was 175 finishers. Eamon Scullion was first in 4 hours and 10 minutes. Check out who's second.
Oh, I can't make it. All right, I clicked off from it already.
Alec Klein.
No shit.
That dude's just been running everything.
Out there he's out there just knocking out.
He won Mohican. A week later, he did.
Yeah.
He did something. I think at I don't know. He's been just running all kinds of races this year and doing really well.
Well, yeah, because we've said his name a couple of times.
Oh, he did Eagle Up, and he won that June 7th, a week after Mohican. He won Mohican, and then he won Eagle Up 100 a week later. He did High Lee this year, where he got first there. Running with my Nomies, he got first there. Georgia Death Race, he got third. Get Lucky 50-50 first. This is all this year. Super Bowl, first. Rocks and Roots first. Lake of the Woods first. Rocks and Roots Trail Series 1, he got first. That was all this year.
We'll see how long it is before he moves out west.
Yeah. And then for the women, first place was Courtney Clark in 601. Let's see. Yeti 100. So not Yeti in Virginia, but Yeti, the state of Washington version. Jason Green, awesome race director, probably one of my favorite race directors out there. Decided they need to take Yeti to the state of Washington. There's a really cool, crushed limestone trail that goes through the Cascades, and you can view all the summits and everything without those tough mountain climbs. You can see scree fields and valleys. There's a 2.3 mile long tunnel where
I love it. Yeah.
Dark. You need your light for that. A grade no greater than 5%, usually much less. I really want to do this race, man. Like, it seems like just a fun 100 where you're not like, I don't know.
I was talking to Chaz last night. Last night? Yeah, last night. It was his birthday yesterday.
Yeah.
So I was talking to Chaz yesterday, happy birthday, phone call and all that kind of stuff. And we got on a conversation of ultras and stuff like that and runs and da-da-da-da-da. And he made a comment of like, kind of wrapping up our careers, right? And he's like, we need to get you one more 100. And I was like, dude, honest to God, like I really truly don't think that the lower leg and the knee really has another one in. He's like, nope, we're going out and we're doing Yeti West Coast. And I'm like, not going to lie, like the knee could probably handle that one. Like that I could probably handle. But it would be a miserable 28 hours, 27 hours.
You can walk faster than a lot of people can run.
Yeah.
You could literally walk this whole thing and you could probably get 26 hours.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm looking at I hate to. I'm looking at a time. I'm not going to say what time I'm looking at, but I'm looking at a time, and I can legit walk that pace. You know what I mean? Like there's like I can go on here and I can find the definitive time that okay, like that would have, but I could, on the right 100, I can almost walk a 28-hour finish on 100 on the right one, right? And like that's
that's this. So when you guys do that, please let me know. I'm all in. I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So Janelle Stark got first overall. So another female first overall this weekend. 15:14. Wow, she crushed it, man. 9:08 pace.
Jeez, 9:08. Can't walk a 9:08.
Yeah, I could maybe run a 9:08 for a mile.
I cannot.
Justin Ladner was first for the men in 15:40. Brian Heyman was second for the men, third overall in 16:14. Willow Doldy, third for the men, 16:41, fourth overall. Jess Mullen was second for the women, fifth overall in 18:37. And Laura Dukes was third for the women in 2024. Okay, that was race results. Let's go to FKTs, the Superior Hiking Trail. Now there's a 100-miler that's on the Superior Hiking Trail as well, the Superior 100.
Yeah.
Tough 100, right? Very technical. Oh, shoot. So anyways, this is a 310 miles. Well, it says distance 290, but the Superior Hiking Trail goes 310 plus miles, but the FKT is 290. There's about 46 to 47,000 feet of climbing, and Bob Stewart is who set this FKT, and it was the unsupported. Now, I have to get to. Oh, here it is. It's at the bottom. So he went unsupported. And there's been a whole host of other people that have set unsupported FKTs on this route. 5 days, 12 hours, and 1 minute was his time. And so unsupported means you have to carry all your food. You have to get water only from public sources that other people can get water from, right? You can't stop at a gas station. You can't purchase water. You can't accept water from, someone giving you aid. So maybe he was filtering water from the lake because it does go right along the lake. I don't know, but I'm sure there's a lot of public taps because it looks like it does go through a lot of little towns,
little neighborhoods, and I'm sure there's like marinas and all kinds of stuff belong through there.
Yeah. But anyways, so pretty impressive. There's a lot of like pretty known people that have done this. And Michael Copy that has the male supported FKT, 5 days, 3 hours, 44 minutes. He was one of the over 70s that ran Western States this year.
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah. So anyways, Bob Stewart, unsupported, 5 days, 12 hours, 1 minute. Also, the PCT section, this is another FKT. It's called the Bridge of the Gods to Timberline Lodge. Now, it's
a good name.
So when you're going northbound, there's like over 13,000 feet of climbing if you're going from Timberline Lodge if you're going southbound from the Bridge of the Gods, which goes over the Columbia River, if you're going from Bridge of Gods to Timberline Lodge, which is at Mount Hood, it's 13,330 feet of climbing, and it's 48 miles. But if you're going northbound from Timberline Lodge to the Bridge of the Gods, it was around just under 7,000 feet of climbing, And the Northbound is a different FKT than the Southbound. But so Carly Peterson set the unsupported female FKT in 13 hours and 17 minutes on that section. Okay. Now we have Liz Derstine, who's still out on her PCT FKT attempt.
Still getting it.
She looks like she's 19 days in, averaging 41.2 miles a day. And yeah, I'm going to have to take a look and see, because it doesn't really say if she's on pace for it or not.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
One of these weeks, I'm going to look into that and see.
Do the math.
Yeah, do the math and kind of figure out if she's on track or not. Also, in other news, unfortunately, John Kelly had to abandon his FKT attempt on the Appalachian Trail. He was absolutely crushing this FKT. I mean, he was so far ahead of record pace. At day 35, he had 320 miles to go. But it was going to be a tough 320 miles through Maine. You know, that's like that wilderness section that, you know, you don't see crew for like 100 miles and all that. But so anyways, he developed something called compartment syndrome. And it's like you have a lack of blood flow to your extremities. He was having trouble even moving his foot. He couldn't flex his left foot. He said he was like walking with like a peg leg going downhill, and the descents, especially the technical descents, were like very difficult. And I know this is a really, really hard decision for him to make.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if he would have continued on with this compartment syndrome and made it worse, he could have done more severe permanent damage. And I mean, he definitely made the right decision.
Yeah.
No sense in ruining your whole future of running by, you know, trying to gut it out. Yeah, so but on a positive note, he did end up raising $60,000 for Hurricane Helene relief, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his updates every day were really cool. Like he would talk about not only his attempt, but like other stuff as well. And it was just kind of cool following along. Also on that Jeff Garmeyer, the Free Outside podcast, his guest doing the Westies Awards, they were talking about John Kelly's FKT attempt, and she was saying, pleading to John Kelly, just continue doing updates every day, like, you know, do like a blog streak. We don't care what you talk about, just it's fun to follow.
I do feel bad though, because maybe one of his last posts he did, he was doing a comparison of East Coast, West Coast trails, right?
Yeah.
And had made a comment to the effect of like, you know, having enough cell reception or whatever to watch the live stream. My dumbass made a comment on there, well, at this pace, you're moving so well. Or at this pace, you're going to be able to watch the live stream from the finish line. Like, well, shit. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Oh man.
Jake's the poor dude.
Yeah, I mean, he was dealing with it for quite a while. It just kept getting, you know, worse and worse. So.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, he had to pack it in. It was a valiant attempt, man. And you know, he had to deal with the craziest adverse weather. Either was like insane rain or just super intense humidity and heat. You know, worse than some other people's FKT attempts for sure. All right. So as I mentioned, we don't really have much news to talk about per se. But what we do have is just some cool stories from Western States finishers. There was 285 finishers this year, and there was six men over the age of 70 that ran Western States. One of them finished, Jan Vleck. 13 runners in the 60 to 69 age range finished. Or I'm sorry, 13 runners were in the 60 to 69 age range, and 8 of them finished. The last place finisher, Tetsuro Aoyama from Japan, finished in 29 hours and 57 minutes, 48 seconds. So about 2 minutes to spare.
Yeah,
it was awesome watching him come in.
His video is really good. When he hit the track, I would guess from the time he hit the track until he finished, the number of times that he did a quick little glance at his watch. You know what I mean?
Trust me.
It's only 300 yard, 300 meters around the track because of where you come in and where you finish.
Yeah.
But it's got to feel like it takes forever. It's got to feel like that's got to be the longest 300 meters of your life when you're in that 29-hour mark.
Trust me. Yeah, that happened at Fat Dog, man. Like that last half mile, I had, like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I kept looking at my watch, just like every 30 seconds looking at my watch,
Yeah.
You're just kind of out of your mind at that point, And,
yeah.
But yeah, it was cool to see him get it done. And then the other side of it was Niraj Egbert, who finished 2 minutes after cutoff. Like, you just felt so bad for him. They had the cameras on him out in the street, but he, you know what? He still gave it his all, man. Like right down to the end.
Yeah.
He finished strong 2 minutes after cutoff. And the cool thing was they announced it on the live stream, but before the award ceremony, but an hour later at the award ceremony, he learned that he was going to be granted an entry for next year's Western States, the 2026 race, thanks to a new race sponsor, the Man Against Horse race, which we should talk about that sometime because that's a pretty cool deal, but we don't have time today. But anyways, they're a new sponsor for Western States, and they said they're going to use their sponsor entry for the first person to cross after the 30-hour cutoff. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
He said, I feel grateful to be here to experience Western States. I work with people who can't walk and can't run. So he knows how fortunate he is to do this, man, you can't sum it up any better than that.
Yeah.
If you're feeling down on yourself and, not feeling motivated, just think about that.
Yeah.
We get to do this. So yeah, super cool. Couldn't have gone to a better person. So it'd be fun to watch him next year and see if he can
see what happens. Yeah. Yeah.
Another cool story, Ben Gibbard, the front man for Death Cab for Cutie and Postal Service, two really awesome bands. He finished. He thought he was suffering a heat stroke. I think at Devil's Thumb, he was in really bad shape. Like he was shivering, and that's not good. That's like hyponatremia.
Yeah, when it's that hot and you're shivering, that is not a good.
Yeah, like remember when I got done pacing Pete across the plains and the desert there, like, and he was shivering and it was hot out, and I'm like, that's not good. That's not good. But anyways, Ben said he couldn't see straight, thought he was having a heat stroke. Listening to his favorite band, Teenage Fan Club, helped him get through. So I admit, when I read that, I
had to look them up, didn't you?
A deep dive, and I had heard them maybe when I was, a long time ago, but it'd been a long time. So Yeah, I downloaded some of their albums and listened to them. But yeah, you can definitely tell where Ben got his influence.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ben Gibbard finished. I think he went under 28 hours. I think it was like 27 something. Chris Myers, when he did his river crossing, I don't know if you saw that on the live stream.
Yeah.
He was wearing snorkel and goggles, and I'm like, I thought maybe it was tactical. At first, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's tactical. Maybe he's gonna just like soak himself from the head, going
goofball.
But it makes sense, right? If you could like totally submerge yourself and just stay under, I mean, you get cooling for your whole body. But he was just doing it to be goofy, anyways. And he still went on to, finish second and all that. So good for him for having a sense of humor. And
yeah,
that was in the Westie Awards. They gave him the Scuba Steve Award. Tara Dower. So we talked about her. She was sick over a week before the race, and even though she felt like she was starting to get better, she still had major respiratory issues, and she was even doing like the Vicks machine or the steam like the day before, the morning of, and there's like some video of her watching Michael Jordan, the flu game. So when Jordan had the flu and he went out there and he like had a dominant performance, and it's forever known as the flu game. She was watching Michael Jordan's The Flu Game to get psyched up. So I thought that was pretty cool. Bronco Billy didn't really have the day he hoped for, but he did get it done. Just over 19 hours. So good to see him out there still kicking ass. I mean, 19 hours at Western States. I mean, like, definitely can't complain about that. And we talked earlier how Jam finished just over 29 hours and didn't really have too much training in the bank besides his 78-mile race like in May. But
did you see the video? Did you see the Instagram post of his feet?
Yeah, it was like super swollen with like bruising on the outside, on the bottom. Yeah. But then he went and ran 3 miles, the next day. Seems like he's doing all right. But yeah, that bruising, his swelling and bruising was like, holy shit, man.
I've never swelled like that from 100.
I've had pretty major feet swelling, but not the bruising like that.
Yeah.
The last thing we just wanted to talk about was what was going on with those Nike shirts.
Dude, those things are. I don't know, man. Like me and Cole are talking about it. Like it's just a different generation. I get. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
So
I don't know.
I have no doubt that those shirts were practical. They had great ventilation. I think they were like knit shirts or something. The best moisture wicking you could probably have. I'm sure they're super practical, but yeah, I'm definitely too old school for that. I didn't get it, but I heard a lot of funny references like grandma's shawl and like, all this stuff.
I saw a couple people like had done edits and put on the Jerry Seinfeld episode, the Jerry Seinfeld episode,
the puffy shirt. Yes.
Wait, this is what I agreed to wear. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny. Like the more I looked at those shirts, the more I realized like there were like they had like big, huge holes cut out in the elbows, so the elbows didn't change. Like big, huge holes cut out in the armpits. You're like, these things are weird, man. Like these are just weird shirts. Like
that's kind of what I thought of when Walmsley first wore the shirt with the holes.
Yeah.
But this is like a whole new extreme.
It's a whole They 100% took that idea, right? Like they took Walmsley's idea and just put it on steroids.
Yeah.
But I kind of wonder how sunproofing it is too. Like I wonder if did those guys end up having like diamond pattern like sunburns all over their body. Like
absolutely, man.
Like so weird, right?
Like, they had to put sunscreen on because it would go right through those holes. Even even I wear a hat with this mesh, I get sunburn on my head. I mean, it comes through. My bald spot, yeah. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
Oh man, that's awesome.
But anyway, let's quickly go through our 3 T's here and close out the show. We're going to talk about recovery and basically like, what does your recovery look like, in a 100-mile race? Well, also, what does your recovery look like if you're training and you're running a 50K or a 50-mile for a training race? How does that look? How long before you start running again, or, what do you do? Do you do any cross training? You can go ahead.
I will say, so you the second part of that question you posed is interesting, because if I'm training for a 100-miler and I have a 50K or a 50-miler on my training plan, and I run a race to do it, there is no recovery. Like it's whatever the training plan says. Now, granted, I think a majority of training plans, like if you run your 50K on a Saturday or Sunday, or on a Saturday, right? 50K or 50-miler on a Saturday, I think most training plans gives you that Sunday off anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's right back at it Tuesday. So, I will tell you this, like, I am a pretty firm believer of don't sit around. Don't sit around that next day, because that's just going to make Monday absolutely wretched.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Get up and walk around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Try to reduce the DOMs.
Yeah, just do something. Just move around. So that's it. Like post 100 or post whatever. It's kind of the same thing, really, in my mind. Run the race, sleep all you want to sleep. You know what I mean? Just rack out. I actually try to eat before you rack out, and then wake up and commence to eating again. But
hell yeah.
Beyond that, though, I think walking is just like the most critical part to recovery. Yeah. Just being active and trying to move around and like knock out any kind of soreness. You don't have to do anything crazy. Just go walk to the park or something like that. But that's generally speaking. It's funny because like now they have those big huge leg sleeves. Like those things like yeah. I mean, like, listen, I'd love to somehow flip the bill for one of those.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that'd be amazing, I'm sure. But I don't know, nothing too awful crazy for me for recovery, just walking.
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever I have a 50K or a 50-miler on the training plan, like a race for a training run, I usually try to make the following week one of my lower mileage, like, rest weeks.
Yeah.
Just to allow myself some recovery from that race. Especially if it's 100K. But if it's a 50K, I don't take any extra time off. Just that would be like a training run, right? A 50K. Yeah. Now, when it comes to 100-miler or more, the recovery is a little more difficult at that point. I usually take like 2 weeks off running. And even then, getting back into it after 2 weeks, sometimes I feel that it's not enough. And I'll say, don't start running again until you feel normal. Because if you start, if you still feel like totally beat up from your 100-mile race or more, you could make your recovery worse by going out and trying to run, 4 or 5 mile daily runs like you were when you were training. I definitely did that when I remember when we ran Black Canyon?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had muck like a few weeks after that, and I went right back into training right after Black Canyon, and it did not go well. It did not go well, man.
Did not work out for you?
Yeah. I mean, I still had a pretty decent run at muck, I finally got recovered from that, but I should have taken a little more time than what I did. I kind of jumped right back into it. So,
mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, definitely, enjoy the food. That's like the best part of recovery is just like eating a whole bunch of food.
All the food.
I will say, make sure you hydrate, take electrolytes, buy yourself some of that electrolyte powder, liquid IV or whatever. You don't need the sugar, but definitely need electrolytes because you lose so much. It's so easy to get dehydrated after a big effort. You might not even feel like you're dehydrated, but you definitely lost a lot of electrolytes. So I would say hydrate and take electrolytes, a lot of electrolytes. Eat, it's tempting to eat shitty food, pizza, Thai food, all that. But definitely try to put some nutritious food into your body. I was watching the Hans Troyer, all his videos in Western. Did you watch any of those?
I feel like I did. I feel like I know what you're talking about. But
so he got out to Olympic Valley like a week and a half before States, maybe 2 weeks before States, right? To acclimate to the altitude and get some training runs in out there. And his video, he shows him opening up his freezer, and he's got stacks of Totino's pizzas.
I didn't see that one.
Or Tony's pizzas, those cheap ass.
The little circular ones.
Yeah. That that those things are just like ultra processed, like loaded with sodium. And that was like all the dude ate, like according to the videos. Like it always showed him like eating those pizzas. And I'm just like, that guy, if he put some healthy stuff in his body, he could probably improve his time like significantly. I mean, he's young. If he put some vegetables and fruit.
Yeah. Eat a fucking vegetable, dude. Yeah, kids are be kids, man.
Yeah. But anyway, I've heard before, like on other podcasts, like why would you, or like if you have a Ferrari, you don't put like regular gas in it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, definitely try to eat well, hydrate, and this goes for training runs too. Longer training runs on the weekends. We have a tendency to do a long training run and start drinking right after. Start drinking alcohol, beer. You got to hydrate first. You got to at least try to hydrate first.
I don't know. I'm with Hans on this one.
You're going to Tony's Pizza.
Listen, I'm gonna run my run and I'm gonna drink my beer.
Did you also see how in one of his videos he was like buying the old bread because it was cheap,
I didn't see that
at the grocery store? Well, so everybody's making fun of him about the bread, and like when he finished, somebody threw a loaf of bread at him. He picked it up and he was holding it up. Like, just look at his YouTube or his Instagram of his finish. It's hilarious. But anyways, recovery, eat well, hydrate, electrolytes, sleep, like Johnny said, because you're going to be jet lagged as fuck because you stayed up a whole night. Not only did you stay up a whole night, you were doing physical activity the whole night.
Yeah. You're working your ass off.
Yeah, and sometimes if you're traveling for a race, you might even be in a different time zone, which would even make it worse. So yeah, you're gonna hit jet lag, and you're not gonna feel it the day after. I think like on the Sunday after a 100-miler, it's like I take a little nap, like maybe an hour or two nap, wake up feeling like kind of decent, go to sleep that night, sleep maybe 3 or 4 hours, and then wake up like kind of in pain, but you're not really tired, you're awake. And then about 2 to 3 days later, you start feeling like absolute dog shit.
What happened to me?
Yeah. So definitely get your sleep. Start doing some walking, like Johnny said. Start doing, maybe try to get out for some small hikes. Maybe I like to go for like bike rides. Like I hardly ever ride my bike, but if I'm recovering from a 100-miler, I like to go out and ride the bike around a little bit. So that's pretty much all I got anyway. So
cool.
But hey, thanks everyone for listening. And if you are listening and you have not subscribed, if you're a YouTube watcher, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe and give us a like. If you're a podcast listener, please subscribe or follow us if you're not. And also, if you could, please give us a rating. We haven't had like really hardly any ratings, but only give us a rating if you're going to give us a good rating.
Keep that negative shit to yourself.
We can't afford one bad rating would put us in the toilet. So, but no, I'm just all kidding aside. If you could, it would help us out. We've been doing this for over a year and a half now. And, we're doing it, spending our own money on the software, but you know what, we love doing it. We have fun time doing it. But we would like to grow the community and grow the show if possible. I know there's a lot of stuff out there now, but yeah, we enjoy interacting with the people that do interact with the show. So if you want to interact with us, hit us up on social media. All the links to our social media and our email even is all in the show notes. So, but yeah, we appreciate everybody and hope you have a great 4th of July long weekend. Go out and get a long run in, unless you're just kicking back and enjoying some barbecue, which I imagine Robert is going to be doing.
No, heck,
but Robert is on a run streak, so he had to get out for 3 miles a day after 6 days. But we're gonna talk to him about that next week. So, but anyways, have a great long weekend, and we'll catch everybody on the next one.
Cool. Thank you. See ya.